Hi, this is the Ivy League astrologer with the May 2015 reading for Vedic Sagittarius. I made a video about Western signs versus Vedic signs because lots of people have been saying they've been watching for their Western signs and finding those to be resonant and have been more uncertain about their Vedic signs. So if that's been happening to you, check it out. I just uploaded it with these May videos, so it should be right there on my channel, pretty close to these anyway. Eventually I will make playlists and make separate things, but yeah, I'm just learning, just figuring it out still, so working on it. Okay, so for Sagittarius for May 2015, I see you kind of receiving an offer from a person at a distance. That may be disappointing. Not what you had hoped for. You may be tempted to sort of let loose on this person. And tell them to sort of go away and never come back, basically. Yeah, I know a lot of Sages have also been in sort of a holding pattern, like waiting for things to come through. So this may be from someone you've been waiting to hear from, but it's not what you've been waiting to hear, kind of. Or the way that they're seeing things doesn't match the way that you're seeing things. And I feel like you've been waiting for a long time or shackled to a certain idea about the growth in this situation, and the way that they're seeing things feels very stunted to you. And you kind of feel like, if this is the way you're seeing the world, like, how are we ever going to be on the same page? How are we ever going to, like, get this worked out? So I feel like you may be tempted to just be like, I'm done with you. You know what? Here's what about you. And tell them about themselves and walk away. But the advice, surprise, surprise, is not to do that. The advice is to sort of sleep on it, and to kind of rest and pray about it even. And allow yourself to return to the situation with a little space. You know, I feel like when you first get this communication, you may just be really tempted to just like, yeah, let loose in a way. But the advice, so this is the Four of Swords, and the advice here is to rest. A lot of times the Four of Swords is about rest, and to return to the situation with a layer, you know, with this layer in between, in this layer of time a little bit. This layer of like cooling off, kind of. But it's like this corresponds, sorry, I'm bad with the reversed movements here. But so this corresponds to this black bar here corresponds to this black bar up here. And so this is to like help you, this time to rest is to help you to see what has separated you from this other person and help you to see the differences in your perspective. And again, one person's perspective may be sort of way up here and really reaching and speaking to their higher self, you know, and one person's perspective may be way down here and really out of touch with that higher self. But they kind of, it feels like they are at this moment sort of willing or able, open to hearing your point of view or hearing the other point of view, you know, but you have to find a way to express it. So there's that openness, right? So here's the person who's sort of like way up here in their thinking, who's being very like broad-minded, you know, and trying to think of all the parties involved. And here's a person down here who's maybe been a little selfish, you know, or maybe just hasn't been living in their higher light. But it's like they're ready to accept that, but you have to find a way to bridge the communication gap so that they can hear the content of what you're saying without it being like overly emotionally colored. So what I'm seeing up here is like I've got the Nine of Cups in reverse, which is like a disappointment, and the Eight of Swords in reverse, which is what's making me say I feel like you might just want to be like, screw this, I am not hanging on for this, you know. And then the Eight of Wands and the Seven of Swords, which is like, let me tell you all about it, and like, why don't you take this and move yourself along, you know. But again, the advice is to sort of figure out that the focus is really more on figuring out like how to bridge that gap, that block, that black line there, that block on communication between these two parties. And it feels like that is available this month, but you may need to really take time out to kind of word things in a way that where they can be received. Because it feels like this person is receptive this month, but it's just going to drive a further wedge between you to like be like, you know, listen, this, that, and that. So you have to find a way to do it in a way that's sort of fair and balanced. Even if you haven't been treated fairly, which is kind of, you know, the crappy part here. But in order to resolve it, you can't, you know, like going back and forth emotionally, injuring each other is not going to get anywhere. So if you need this resolved, then you're going to have to find a way to sort of, hold it up for the light. So this is the Empress card. Sorry, I'm trying to show the cards and I'm realizing how right and left challenged I am when it's in the mirror image. So this is kind of where I get the phrase, hold it up for the light. And I feel like the Empress, sometimes her face looks so weary, you know, she's like, do I have to do all of it, you know? But the thing is that, like, whoever this person is, they need your light, you know? And so you need to find a way to bring the light, that you may need to take time out for yourself before you can kind of feel the impulse to kind of bloom again in your heart. You know, you may need to kind of lick your wounds and just allow yourself to be injured, because you're not invincible. You're not, you know, you need to nurture yourself. But yeah, I feel like if you're able to kind of surround yourself with beauty, with friends, with comfort, and even just rest, you know, again, I feel like the rest is being reinforced. That you're going to find a way to be clear-sighted in the way that you approach this issue, which is going to kind of win you the advance that you want. But yeah, you may need to kind of rest in order to find that through line, in order to find that way to the good stuff. And in order for you to even want to, honestly, you know, your heart may need some time to just recuperate before you can feel that urge to reach out, feel the urge to heal it. But yeah, it seems like there is a way to kind of make a strong movement forward. And for some people, this will mean moving away from someone that you had hoped to move on with. And it may not be that you will never be able to move on together, but for now you need to make a strong but fair way of separating your paths, because your heart just can't take it, you know. So for some people this will be a disappointment of your hopes, but in a way that allows you to sort of move on and leave the troubled water behind for now. You know, if this person is just not able to sort of meet you at an eye-to-eye place, then you may need to just move on. Which may be painful, but is ultimately positive, because it's going to free you up from having to like be concerned with that person's turmoil. For other people, I feel like you will finally have found a way to reach someone where you can see eye to eye, and you will be done waiting for them to figure it out, you know. Which doesn't mean that they're going to suddenly become you and feel everything you feel, you know. But you may be able to at least move on from the stuck place where you were and put some of those dark things to bed in a way that you can move on to more positive things within the relationship. Yeah, I'm sorry to say, for some of you, I feel like you're still going to feel very fenced in. And just not able to nurture someone in the way that you want to nurture them. You know, like you still feel pinned to it, but you're not able to sort of get through to them in the way that you're showing your love. And so that may mean that you may need to change the way that you are nurturing this person. You may need to give them more agency. And sort of trust that they will steer the boat. Six of Swords here. That they will steer the boat in the right direction. Even if it's not the way that you would do it, you know? So here's the woman. Here's the woman who is feeling trapped and feeling like someone else is steering the boat and not feeling positive about that. But I feel like it's like you have to put your faith, because these swords sometimes look like crosses as well. You have to put your faith in this person in order to get the best results. Yes, that's what it is. I feel like you have to put your faith in this person fully in a way that may be difficult and may cancel out the nurture that you want to give them. There we go, okay. It may cancel out the nurture that you want to give them, but it feels like instead of nurture, what they need is trust. They need your trust in order to bring this around, bring it to where you need it to be, you know. So you may have to give more trust than you even actually feel this month in order to sort of free yourself from feeling fenced in. You need to, it seems like you need to give it to the other person to steer, and allow that, you know, in order to kind of reach where you're going. So yeah, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had sort of more happy tidings for the Sagittarians this month, but I feel like it will be a satisfying process to you as truth seekers to find that way to figure out the blocks on communication, you know, and find that way to kind of rise above the emotional back and forth to really communicate clearly. I feel like that will be deeply satisfying for you and move you forward in a way that is powerful. So there's that. Anyway, I hope that's useful for you Sagittarians for this month. If you'd like to schedule a personal consultation, I do have my link for scheduling down below. My email address is theivyleagueastrologer@gmail.com. And please note that all times on my scheduling website are in Pacific time because I'm in California. So if you need to make the translation, you can just type into Google, you know, Bahrain time to Pacific time, and it'll come right up and show you what time it is in your time, so you can make sure that you're scheduling for a time that's convenient for you. Please check out the video on Western versus Vedic signs as well. I hope that's helpful. Thank you and have a good month.